Hey everyone, this is Jason from the North-South Connection. I just want to come at you today with a few books to check out, read, maybe gain some knowledge, and a couple other little things. First, I gotta say this is my first video recording, so bear with me on some of the technical side things. But I found another use for my Vortex Summit SSP tripod, and that's to hold the camera up. So hey, multi-use items, I'm all about those. So first book I got for you today is called Desert Solitaire. Now this is by Edward Abbey. It will cover all of his stuff when he was out in Arches National Park. All his time in Utah. There's a couple good little things in there. Like he used a bull snake for rattlesnake protection. Kept it underneath his trailer, and this is back in the day with the services and stuff like that. So it was a little bit different era back then compared to now. I mean, these guys now might get an actual bunkhouse. Sometimes they still have the old trailers, but he had a great time out there. This will actually transport you back to that time period and just out there in general. So, this is how I gain knowledge about where I want to go visit, stuff like that. And I was in Utah working, and for some reason I read this book right before I got the job out there, and I saw a bunch of the cool places he listed in here, and it's worth checking out. It's a good book. He was a little bit of ecological activist type person. We can all get behind that. He was all for public lands and that. So just check it out. I highly recommend it. One of my all-time favorite books. Next book I got for you is The Wild Duck Chase. Now this is a talk about the duck stamp ever since 1934. Kind of where all the money goes to. Also talk about the duck stamp contest, which is all the artwork. If you haven't checked that out, go on Fish and Wildlife Service's website, fws.gov. There is a link, and I don't remember exactly where, but all about the duck stamp, and you can see all the entries for this year's contest. So I think they have past years as well. They even have junior duck stamps in states. It's a huge ordeal. And then if you ever check out a documentary called, I think it's called $1 Million Duck or $1 Million Duck Stamp, highly recommend it. It's kind of crazy how there's basically one family who just keeps winning year after year the duck stamp. They're just phenomenal artists, and the things they go through to get pictures of these ducks in order to draw them is a lot like hunters. They'll be out in ground blinds instead of having a gun with them. They'll be using their cameras trying to get a really good shot of pictures of these ducks in their habitat. Usually it's prairie pothole type region where the breeding's going on. So I highly recommend checking this out. It's just a good read. Might not be the most exciting for someone if they're not into duck hunting, but just the duck stamp itself is so critical to our public lands. Just please check it out and buy your duck stamp. Remember that. Buy that duck stamp. Alright, next book I'm going to show you is Douglas Brinkley, and it's The Wilderness Warrior. It's all about Theodore Roosevelt. I mean, there is just a ton of pages and references in here, and this isn't a book I expect anybody to get through in a quick amount of time. I'm still, trying to get through it. It is a giant book, so I'll pick it up, read a chapter or two when I get time. Maybe even just read a few pages. All about Teddy Roosevelt. And I mean, there's a lot of books out there on him, and for good reason. He was a great man and had some great adventures. Something we all should look into and try to idolize him in some regards. I obviously am staying away from the political spectrum with him, but for all the things he did for public lands, my hat is off to him. Last thing I've been reading lately, it's July. We got hunting regs. Gotta keep up to date on these regs, make sure we know what we're allowed to do and what we can't do. Also check if there's any new updates and all that. Idaho does it different than some other states I hunt, where they'll have, this is 2019 and 2020 seasons rules. So that's new to me. I'm used to it every year, and then you just usually flip to what's the new law this year and all that. So I've been reading this, getting ready for my Idaho hunt, just gearing up for that. And I want to touch on another thing. So Xavier posted this great picture on Instagram, the leather-bound journal, how he writes notes and all that about hunts, and I respect that, and I'm like that in a sense, but I don't have a fancy journal. So I take mine a little bit differently. I have composition notebooks, real cheap to pick up, and it was a way for me to kill some time and I guess just keep notes of everything I've been doing. So like this one's my fly fishing. I have all the gear I have for fly fishing listed down. So I have just way too much gear, I guess, for other stuff. So I have all the gear I use, all the flies I've tied, success with them, what I've caught with them. Just really, it's a time suck, and I invested a lot of time into it, and I still flip through it. I have spawning seasons for different species and go after that. And my pride and joy that I hope to pass down to my child one day is my musky fishing one. There's a lot of good notes in here. You know, time of day, time of season, you know, time of the year, everything. So I even have every bait I've used and success I've seen and things that did not work for me. It's just notes I jot down for myself. Every time I go for a musky fishing trip, I'm flipping through my old notes and just trying to remember what I did that was good and what I did that was bad. I've lost a few boat side, and those are the ones that hurt the most. I remember those more than some of the ones I caught. And I'm a die-hard musky fisherman, and this is a way like an outlet for me. I love writing it down. This one doesn't have a title on it, but this is my hunting one. Just keep it all about turkey hunts and deer hunts and everything like that. I have some notes in there about turkey hunts in California where the rain was bad and I got my boot stuck, and I didn't remember I got my boot stuck. I just remember being miserable out there. But you know, it's those funny little memories, and I hope one day that, you know, my kid can read these and just laugh at me a little bit or learn something if they want to be in the outdoor realm, which I hope they do. So this is just a little rundown of some things that you guys should check out or do possibly, and I appreciate you guys watching. Get outdoors, and we'll see you guys later.